Are you a CFOP solver looking to improve? Well, don't worry, you've come to the right place. This guide will hopefully help you to improve with the CFOP method. CFOP stands for Cross, F2L, OLL, and PLL. The first step being the cross is making what's literally a cross on the first side. The cross is sort of your base of your first two layers. There are so many tricks on how to do the cross efficiently, but I'll just note a few points here. First of all, make sure you're doing your cross on the bottom, just so that when you transition into F2L, you don't have to flip the cube upside down, and that, impedes look ahead. It stops your tracking vision of all the pieces on the cross and F2L, and it's just better flow in general. So I'll just walk through an example cross with you, so that you know what it looks like to save moves and to efficiently perform the cross at a good speed. I'm doing yellow cross, so green can come in here, but before that I can move red with a D prime. That will get green and red solved. Orange can come here with U2, L2, but L2, because blue got kicked over here, LBL will solve both orange and blue at the same time. So let's do that all together. That's green and red, but before red, U2, and then LBL solves this entire cross. Planning the cross, executing it as fast as you can, again I've said in a different video, really helps so that you can transition into F2L without pausing too much. When you reach F2L, I have some tips for you. For F2L, there are also billions and billions of tricks that you could come up with, or even that you've learned. But the point of F2L is, because in the beginner method you solve just one layer at a time, F2L just solves both the corner and the edge at the same time, compared to beginner method, which is just corners first and then edges. F2L is just a very, very efficient way of doing the same thing. Just pairing up pieces, inserting them, looking for more pieces, and repeating the process. For F2L, make sure you can, when you find a pair, make sure you can split it up if it needs to be split up in a way that immediately gets it paired. So don't just, split it up in a random way that you need to do extra pairing afterwards. Make sure you can split this up in a very specific way so that they immediately get paired. And another thing about inserting, you can either insert it into the front slot like this, or you can insert into the back by facing the opposite side. When to decide if it's front or back, that usually depends on your experience on F2L, but there are a few general rules of doing this. For example, if you are having a pair that's already in a back slot, then you can just pair it up like this and insert it into the front. A similar case, if you have a slotted edge, but that needs a front slot that you can pair it up with, then you can just pair it up normally and insert it into the front. However, if you're in a situation like this, where you have this pair, inserting into the front, if you're trying to go for a more advanced style, looking ahead to other pieces, this, if you insert it into the front, you're no longer going to see what's ahead, or what's not really ahead, but what's in the back slot, because this is your last slot. So if you just pair it up like this and insert to the front, you'll have no idea what's next. But if you pair it up like this and maybe rotate here and insert into the back, you can see this corner and this edge, which would have been invisible otherwise. Moving on to OLL. It is better to know full OLL, so that as soon as you recognize the case, you can just turn really fast, and same with PLL. But if you think that learning 57 algorithms for OLL and 21 algorithms for PLL is a bit too much, you can learn 2-look. Just remember that when you're at OLL and PLL, you remember to not spend too much time recognizing the case. If you have the 2-look OLL case like this, the cross on top, if you see this headlights and nothing here, you can just take a quick sneak peek over here. If you see nothing here, then that means the headlights are at the back, and it's this case. This technique is called two-side recognition, where you can just look at two sides and you can immediately recognize the case. For PLL, this is much harder. Well, if you can recognize from two sides, it is better to save rotation and potential pause. Usually for OLL, that's more useful, but for PLL, if you can just recognize like this or from here, then it's typically better like that. Another tip for PLL, if you get a PLL that is out of hand, like this, then don't rotate and then face the sides that you want to face. Instead, just do U-moves. U-moves are much faster than rotations, as you don't need to wobble the cube like this. you can just do U-turns like this, just to align it to your hand. Align it to your hand instead of aligning it to the face. Well, in this case, it does align it to the face if you're doing V-perm like this. But if you got V-perm like this where it is already aligned, but you just need to align it to your hand like this, then you must do so, don't rotate. And just do the algorithm. And then when you're finishing the algorithm, immediately correct the U layer. So hopefully this 3x3 CFOP guide helped you to improve. If it didn't, well, you know what to do. Just hit subscribe, and that's kind of your fault for not improving. Actually, to improve, just keep practicing. Keep doing timed and untimed solves. And, you know, just keep cubing. That's the way to improve, isn't it? Keep cubing. So make sure to implement these tips whenever you can during your solves. Thanks for watching.